There are people in this world who carry everything alone. The ones who say, "I'm fine," even when their voice trembles. The ones who show up for everyone, but never ask anyone to show up for them. Most people assume they're strong, self-reliant, maybe even stubborn or arrogant. But the truth is far more layered. And if you're one of those people who endure quietly, this video is for you. You're not broken for being this way. You're not cold, and definitely not arrogant. There's a psychology behind your silence, a story behind your self-reliance, a reason your heart learned to survive without ever reaching out. Maybe it happened in childhood, when the people you depended on were too overwhelmed to notice your needs. Maybe it happened in your teens, when showing emotion only brought judgment, not comfort. Or maybe it happened slowly, over years of being the responsible one, the strong one, the one everyone else leaned on. And somewhere along the way, you learned to carry everything alone. Patterns like this don't appear out of nowhere. People don't wake up one day and decide, "I'll handle everything alone." It starts much earlier than that, often long before we're old enough to understand what's happening. For some, it begins in childhood, in homes where independence was praised and vulnerability was quietly discouraged. Any sign of struggle was met with, "Handle it yourself. Stop overreacting. Don't make things difficult." A child learns very quickly that asking for help creates tension, that showing pain invites impatience, that their feelings take up too much space. For others, the lesson comes later, in adolescence, the years when courage is fragile and rejection leaves a mark. They finally build up the nerve to reach out, only to be dismissed, mocked, or ignored. That kind of wound doesn't disappear. It teaches them a harsh rule. It's safer to struggle alone than to risk being hurt again. And some learn it through responsibility, being the one everyone else depends on, the reliable one, the strong one, the one who keeps the peace while their own needs slip quietly into the background. At first, it feels like a compliment. Then it becomes a role. Eventually, it becomes a cage. By the time you reach adulthood, these early lessons don't stay as memories. They turn into beliefs, quiet ones, hidden ones, the kind you don't say out loud but still live by every single day. Some people don't ask for help because deep down, they still associate vulnerability with weakness. Not because they're proud, but because they were trained to be strong before they ever got the chance to be soft. Others stay silent because they've been rejected before. They remember the sting of opening up, only to be told they were overreacting, being dramatic, or expecting too much. Their heart learned to protect itself by staying quiet. And then there are the ones who carry a constant fear of being a burden. They're hyper-aware of everyone else's struggles, everyone else's exhaustion, everyone else's limits. So they convince themselves that their pain is small, their needs are inconvenient, and their feelings are better kept tucked away. Some people even believe they should be able to handle everything alone, that needing help means they're failing at adulthood. So they push harder, hold more, and silently punish themselves for every moment they wish someone would care enough to ask, "How are you really doing?" On the surface, you look capable, calm, collected, dependable. People admire your strength. They trust you with their crises. They lean on you because you've been the strong one for so long that no one thinks to ask whether you're tired. But privately, the cost is heavy. One of the quiet burdens is the loneliness that comes from being everyone's support while having none of your own. You show up for people automatically, instinctively, because that's who you've always been. Yet when you're the one struggling, your mind freezes at the thought of reaching out. The reflex to handle it yourself always wins. There's also the weight of mistrust, not because you're suspicious, but because life has shown you that some people don't follow through. They say they'll be there, and then they're not. So even when someone offers help, a small voice inside whispers, "Don't rely on them. You know how this ends." And beneath that lies the pressure to look like you're doing fine, to stay competent, to stay in control, to meet every expectation you've placed on yourself. You believe you should be able to handle it, that admitting otherwise would make you weak or disappointing, or somehow less. So you keep going. You take on more than you should. You suppress the shake in your hands. You pretend the exhaustion is normal. You go through life carrying emotional weight that was never meant for one person to hold. And the world doesn't notice, not because people don't care, but because you've become so skilled at hiding your struggle. This is the hidden cost. You become the strong one for everyone else, and the invisible one for yourself. Picture this. It's late night. You're sitting on the edge of your bed, phone in your hand, heart heavier than you want to admit. There's someone you trust, someone you could message, and for a moment, your thumb hovers over the screen. You type out a few words. "I'm struggling today. I don't think I'm okay. Can we talk?" It's honest. It's small. It's the truth. But then the fear slips in. You imagine them being busy, tired, annoyed. You imagine yourself being a burden, adding one more weight to a life that already looks full. So you delete the message, one backspace at a time, until the screen is blank again. You tell yourself it wasn't that important anyway, that you're just overthinking, that you'll feel better tomorrow. You put the phone down, turn off the light, and let the silence swallow the words you almost said. And this is the part no one sees, the part that makes people think you never need help. They never see how close you came to reaching out. They only see that you didn't. Here's the part most people never understand about those who never ask for help. It's not independence, it's not strength, it's not confidence, and it's definitely not pride. It's protection. Every quiet "I'm fine," every swallowed emotion, every deleted message isn't a sign that you don't need anyone. It's a sign that somewhere along the way, you learned that needing people wasn't safe. You learned that vulnerability can backfire, that asking can lead to disappointment, that opening up can invite judgment, that relying on others can make you feel exposed, or burdensome, or ashamed. So you built a life around self-reliance, not because you wanted to, but because you had to. And now, people admire your strength without realizing it was shaped by moments that hurt. They see your independence and mistake it for confidence, when really, it's armor. Beautiful, polished, protective armor, worn by someone who once needed softness and didn't receive it. This is the truth. You don't avoid asking for help because you're stubborn. You avoid it because your heart learned that not everyone can be trusted to hold what you carry. And that's not weakness, that's survival. But survival isn't the whole story. Healing doesn't begin with opening up to someone. It begins with understanding yourself, with realizing that your silence was never a flaw, but a shield. You learn to carry everything alone because life taught you that you had no other choice, and that deserves compassion, not judgment. So maybe the first step isn't asking for help outright. Maybe it's something smaller, softer. Maybe it's letting yourself admit, even privately, "I wish someone could be there for me." Maybe it's allowing one person in just an inch more than last time. Maybe it's choosing honesty over the automatic "I'm fine," even if your voice still trembles when you say it. Asking for help isn't weakness. It isn't neediness. It isn't burden. It's a quiet invitation for someone to meet you where you are. A chance for closeness to grow in the space where you once felt alone. You don't have to pour your heart out or break open all at once. You don't have to abandon the strength that kept you alive. You just have to make room, a little room, for connection. Because sometimes healing isn't about carrying less. It's about letting someone else carry a corner of the weight with you, and you deserve that. Not because you're struggling, but because you're human. Because you've spent years caring for others with a heart that never stops giving. And that same heart deserves care in return. You were never meant to walk through everything alone. And the truth is, you don't have to.